obliged to, go into the literature, and that's a good skill to have, and of course it supports many of our decisions and so on. But you're quite right that at any level we can be conducting research. And I just want to make a comment. I mean, I don't know whether you agree with me, everybody. Sort of we see in our staff rooms the people who are interested in growth, and the people who are not. The people who are not said, "I know how to teach. I don't need you to tell, and I don't need to learn anything more." And they just become stale and just stuck in their ways. And the ones who actually are interested in improving, they're the ones who who do improve, and they improve through practice, through conducting whatever kind of research it is to try to become a better practitioner. Yeah.
Any comments, questions for Mick, or share your story?
Hi, everyone. This is Erica from Orlando. Can you hear me?
Hi, Erica.
Yes.
Yes.
First, I'd like to say thank you to TESOL CPD for sponsoring this, and thank you, Dr. Mick, for sharing your experience. I really needed to hear it because it's similar to my experience. I've always been a researcher since I was a little kid. I've been always curious about everything. And for fun, I used to read the encyclopedia so I could find out all about the world. And I thought, oh, if I finish, I'll know everything. But I remember specifically in 5th grade, we had to do a project about advertising. So I don't know if the project was on advertising, but I collected different print ads on cigarettes and how they portrayed that you could be healthy and have this, you're skiing and you're smoking, you're running and you're smoking, you're sexy and you're smoking, and how I did research to say that's not true. They're just trying to lie to us. But research has been a passion of mine, and I've been really fortunate to, I did my undergrad at UCF, University of Central Florida, and in political science, and I got to do research with Dr. Fine on, oh my goodness, on third political parties. And then I got to do a summer fellowship with Dr. Keith Foles on vocabulary and collocations and different things like that. But I share that humbly, because I'll tell you, when I was doing it, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I know what I was doing, but I didn't even, and the thing is that I thought, and I got able and competent, but the way that I learn, I need to see someone do it before I grasp it. And so he's like, here, read these articles and do this. And I was like, I don't know what this is saying. Now, after so much time and experience in teaching in TESOL, I know it. And so when I have now students and pre-service teachers come in to watch my class, I'm like, come, you're going to do something. You're not just going to watch. I'll give you some time to just watch, but you're going to come and do, so that you can see that you're able. And it just brings me great to be able to share that with them. But even now, I've been contemplating doing a perhaps a doctorate degree. And this is the funniest thing, Liz, I hope you get a kick out of this. I'm the mentor for Dr. Klada. Her last name doesn't come to my mind right now, but she's in the Czech Republic. And we are,
yay.
And we are co-writing an article with Bloomsbury on like helping pre-service teachers. And I'm her mentor, and she's the one with the doctorate, and she's the one, but here's what I'll say, that despite her credentials, we've been very humble with one another, and we've been able to learn so much from one another.
Yeah, I think the mentor, yeah, I think the mentoring program is really good for that, isn't it? Just like, sort of being on an equal footing and just like learning from each other in the experience. Absolutely. And it's interesting to hear your stories, Erica, about back in the day.
Yeah, and it's been wonderful just because she's so excited that we're working together and we hash out ideas, and like, oh, she's transitioning to a new position at a new university, and she's like, I'm going to be teaching new teachers, and this is the thing. And I said, oh, what about if you do this, and let's talk about this. It's so much fun. I look forward, and I have a friend in the Czech Republic now, another friend, you know, so that's been wonderful. But I needed to hear it because my own road has been kind of eclectic and trying to figure things out. So thank you for your words of encouragement by sharing your narrative.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Beautiful story. Thank you, Erica.
Damon has his hand up, I think.
Yeah, Mick, what a wonderful presentation. I hope I'm going to be watching it again and again and send several people to watch it. And Erica, I like what you added to it as well, and everybody else. My question to you, Mick, and all the rest of you who are researchers out there, is that I find that many people are stymied by, or reluctant because of the concept of data and statistics. And they don't know how to do that, and they're afraid to do it. And, you read some of this heavy research and it's saying P this and N that. And some people don't even know how, when they go to listen to somebody presenting research, that really chases people away or makes people reluctant. What do you have to say that will ease somebody into this?
Very easy. Don't do it. To become a qualitative researcher, maybe you can, yeah, I mean, I'm not a statistician, so I tried when I was doing my doctorate. They kind of, it wasn't really a program where they focused on that, but they thought they should teach it, and it was too rushed, and I couldn't work it out. So, decide where you are in your research and what kind of researcher you are. Accept in the research world, I would say that some people are going to be accepting of all kinds of research, and some people are going to be a bit precious about their own field, and that's not real research what you're doing. Well, for a lot of people it is, and I can give data that you can't give. So that's kind of my answer, Damon. I would say, I wouldn't worry about it. I think in our field especially, I think, we tend to veer more towards the qualitative, but there are quantitative researchers out there, of course. But if it's something that you're good at, then do it. If it's something that you just don't feel comfortable with, don't do it. Or, work with somebody who is good at it, and you can do the qualitative side and they can do the quantitative side. Yeah, so I guess that's my response. I don't know how other people feel about that in the room.
Great response. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to add, because I'm passionate too about this topic. I went to a university that was highly quantitative. I had to take 4 statistics courses, University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, in order to get my PhD. So I was made to learn a new language, a new culture, a new way of looking at the universe. And we could talk about that. But what I wanted to get to is I still hate it. Even though I had to do it, I still hate it. And so I have been so lucky, because there are people who love it. There are people who love technology. There are people who love statistics. There are people who love teaching writing, and so we find those people, and as Mick said, you hook up with them, and they say to you, oh, I hate teaching writing, and you go, I love teaching writing, and they say, I love statistics. Finding being part of a network of people is the answer, and I could talk about that all day. Thank you very much for the chance to say that.
Thank you, Liz. I just wanted to, you just made me think of a story, actually. I used to work in a university, which was a small branch campus, and we used to have a research seminar every week, and we were kind of obliged to go, and they were very interesting because we'd be following research seminars from all the disciplines that were taught on the campus. And so, but I used to sort of smile, because if it was a qualitative sort of department, then I would go and I'd understand everything. And then for some of the business presenters and then the psychology department and whatever, I'd love all the introduction and the literature review and all that kind of stuff. And then it would come to the results, and suddenly it's like they switched to an alien language. I had no idea what they were saying, but they were talking to me like I knew what they were saying. And then they stopped talking and they looked and like said, well, that's it. And I'm thinking, well, can you explain what you just said? You know, I have no idea what you just said in the last 10 minutes. So yeah, we are sort of definitely not two peas in a pod sometimes as researchers. Some of us are on one side, some of us are on the other.
Mick, I'd love to ask a question. You talked about your research broadly, but I'd be interested if you see trends in the research that you've done over the years and what you've tended to focus on and what you think the practical implications of the research have been.
Well, I guess the research that I've done first and foremost has been practical for me because it's always been contextual. So because it's a stone in my shoe, not everything is a stone in my shoe, but most of the research would be some challenge that I'm facing at this current time in my practice. And it didn't have to be in the classroom because I spent like about 15 or 16 years in management. So sometimes it would be a management issue. It would be about relationships between myself and faculty. Between faculty and each other, faculty and students, you know, why are they not getting on? So yeah, I mean, I think that primarily it's useful for me. And then once you disseminate it, once you share it, you might, you know, make somebody think about their own context and how that applies, and they might take something away from what you have said, I guess, you know. I mean, it's interesting. I think as well, you know, I think when you're doing this kind of stone in my shoe research, it's very closely linked to reflection, and reflective practitioners will be willing to do this because they want to reflect on things that are going wrong and why are they going wrong and what can you do about it. And I have to be honest, sometimes I've done research and the research hasn't given me an answer, you know. And so I just have to accept that. Okay, maybe I can't find a solution. I remember a couple of years ago, I presented here on the on resilience.
Yes.
And I did research into that and tried to find out why some of my team was like really struggling in what I thought was a very, you know, nice environment. You know, sort of, you know, well paid, good job, and so on. And yet some people were struggling, and then going into the data really didn't give me any answers. So that sounds like you haven't, you know, that the research has failed. It hasn't failed. It's just letting you know that, you know, it's maybe something that you can't do anything about. You should stop worrying about it and just accept that this is part of life, you know. So I think I've gone a little bit off piste there, Julie. I don't know if I have, but I hope that the answer was partly what you were asking.
It was very helpful. Thank you.
There's a couple of questions in the chat. I'm not sure who's managing chats, but there are a couple of good questions there.
I can see one from Clara.
And Lynn too has one, yeah.
I didn't see Lynn's.
Yeah, I'm happy to read it. Or maybe Lynn, did you want to read yours out loud?
Yes. So I do have, I mean, I took courses in research, and there's a definition of research. And I think that recently one criterion has been added that research also has to be published so that what you produce is under some kind of scrutiny, and also you get some feedback. And Mick, you also mentioned how important it is to share. So I'm just wondering what your thought is in the sense that it has to be published, it has to be reviewed, it has to be given feedback on. And I love the idea. Actually, I have heard it in different fields as well in international education. There is this really nice concept of scholar practitioner. I think practitioner scholar or scholar practitioner. And I love that concept as well. I just feel that if you gather data, analyze it systematically, summarize it, share it, then that's a really good form of research. So I do have a few criteria that I think are important for research.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's worth learning about how to do research. I mean, so, you know, peer reviews are important for publication because of the reputation of the publication. But you know, if somebody is confident in what they're doing and they've got background in it, then and they just want to do research for the sake of you know, solving something in their local context, it doesn't necessarily have to be published, I don't think, as long as it can be of use to people. But again, that person should have, you know, some schooling, I guess, in, you know, in conducting, you know, good research. And if they don't, then it's always a good idea to maybe do research with somebody who does. I mean, that's what you find a lot. You find people who kind of contact somebody who has more experience than they do, and they do research together, which I think is really, it's a great thing to do. So yeah, I don't think it needs to be published. I think sharing, as I said, I think presentations now are such a great way to share quickly, and then somebody may just take something away from that presentation and start applying it directly. Whereas if you go down the publication route, the whole process of getting published takes forever, you know, and then when it is published, then somebody has to, you know, maybe have access to it, and it's just more limiting, I guess, if we're talking about sharing. Whereas conferences and presentations, you know, it's very immediate. It's just like it's there, and if you're in the room, you can hear it and you can take something away.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I mentioned the word shared as well, and you also mentioned the word of use, right? If you don't make it public in some way, then it may not be useful for other people. So I agree. It doesn't have to be a formal public, but it has to be shared in some way.
Yes, I agree.
Otherwise, secret research may
I
not be
told you
as
about my
useful, right?
thesis. I mean, I was so shocked when I saw my thesis and how many times it had been, you know, accessed, because you just assume that, you know, in a repository, you have, you know, physically you think of this like dark, dusty, sort of a big cavernous room with all these like dusty papers which never get opened. And now with technology, people are just clicking away and like accessing all kinds of things. So yeah, people are interested, and people will look at these things. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what we should be doing. Clara, I think Clara had a question.
And Judith had a comment too there.
Oh, sorry, Judith, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'd like to, Mike, first of all, to thank you for your speech. It was really interesting for myself because so many things resonated with me personally in your speech. I'm of the same age which you mentioned when you started your academic career now, and I'm also now thinking of starting a PhD program. Yes, so, and I also feel like that dog which you showed, that dog that is thinking, should I do it or not? Why do I need it? I'm already professional enough. I'm busy. I have so many jobs, like I have things to do, but so I'm exactly like that dog now. So it's so interesting that people actually feel the same, have the same feelings on those stages. And yes, and that is why my question is somehow coming out from this short introduction. Because I'm not sure, like in my power to conduct a PhD research, I'm just thinking, should I maybe firstly go to a MS program, MS in research methods program, and learn the research methods before doing the PhD program? Because I'm from Uzbekistan, by the way, Central Asia, Uzbekistan. And here we have an international university, Westminster's University, and they do have a MS program in research methods. So I was just thinking, should I maybe firstly go to that program before doing my PhD in order to learn research methods? But then I was not sure if they actually...
Yeah, sorry, Liz.
If they actually teach research methods for TESOL. So that is the question which I typed in the chat box. If I go to that program, will I learn research methods that are used in TESOL?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to look carefully at the course description. If it doesn't say TESOL, then it will be more generic, I guess. I mean, the one that I did, unfortunately, no longer is running, but it was, I liked it because it had a lot of, it was a distance learning course with Aston University. Very good one. We're task-based learning people. We're developing it,
Very good.
and you know, the Willises and people like that. And what they did, every module, you had like a research methods module, but then all the other modules, which were like course materials and design and methodology, you read the materials, you studied it yourself, and then you put forward a proposal for a project. So you had to do a research project for each module, and that was how you were assessed. So you had really a lot of control over what you did, and you just had to get the proposal approved, and then you kind of moved on. So if you can find programs like that, that would be great, I think. I think that if you use something more general, I mean, I don't know, maybe in the PhD, they may have courses already that will, you know, where they will teach you these things. I did an EdD. So the EdD kind of, it was modular. So we started off with sort of research-based modules at the beginning. So that might be something to consider as well. I wanted to say something when you talked about the dog. What was it going to say? Maybe I'll come back to it. Maybe I'll remember later. So yeah, I mean,
I graduated from Aston 2 years ago.
Oh, right.
From Aston, yes, MA in TESOL. It was MA in TESOL program.
You, I don't know if the same lecturers are still there, but was it Sue Garton? Is it
Sue, yes, Sue, Muna.
I love Sue. I love her.
Muna, Noor.
Yeah. Noor, Sue, Muna, Noura, the main leaders of the modules. Muna has retired this year.
That's right. Yeah. No, a good team. They're a good team.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. There's one other question from Judith in Kenya. I think Judith is with us. Maybe she left, but she had a good question.
Well, she's still here, Judith. Yeah.
Hey, I'm
There
here.
she is.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Judith.
Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for putting the program at this time. It's convenient for some of us to attend. I really appreciate. And I just love the way, my comment was, I love the way you brought out research, because most of it around our universities here, it's the statistics aspect. It's heavily quantitative. You know. So hearing you just make it so simple, it's so exciting. And you asked about when we develop our desire for research. I think for me, probably I've always been curious. So this just adds to my curiosity, especially with things to do with young people, youth, teenagers, schooling, anything like that. And even in class, I can just tell them, go research on this and that. So hearing you speak about it so simply just adds my enthusiasm to do it.
Great.
So I just want to say thank you so much. And
oh, most
Liz,
welcome.
Thank you so much.
I brought it down to my level because I'm simple.
I understand you. I love your simple level. And I want to let Liz know that, God willing, I think I should be presenting in TESOL 2023 in Oregon.
With Linda.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, with Linda, yes. Thanks for mentoring me. Liz, you've done a good job. Thank you.
No, you did a good job, Judith. Thank you. But, you know, we keep talking about research in such a, you know, and it's really maybe a good, we're almost done here, but I wanted to say how research often is is above teaching. It's more elite, more high class. Yeah. Oh, I teach at a Research One university, or oh, I want to teach at a better university where we can do research. There has always been this, I think, myth, and I had good professors who helped me to feel less self-conscious of my fear of numbers. But there's always been this feeling that research is better than teaching, is better than service. And so even in some parts of the world, people cheat, right? They say they wrote something, but they just copy it from somebody else. There are big problems with it. You get more money. I did a big workshop in Turkey to help the faculty because the ministry said, oh, you have to publish it. So they're all cheating. They don't know how to write research. I think we have to end at least by raising up the fact that research, what Mick's talking about is real. It's organic. It is our lives. It's a way of looking at life. And it's beautiful what he said and helped us to see better, because that's where real research happens. This fake research that is really around how many people read your paper, blah, blah, blah. These evaluation, this elitism is very scary to me. Mick, thank you for bringing us back down to earth.
No, you're welcome.
Mick, did you remember what were you going to say about the dog?
No, I can't remember. It was something funny. It was something funny, but I can't remember. So I never.
He'll tell us if he remembers. He can put it on an email or something.
Yeah. What were you talking about before? I can't remember. Before you started talking about your question, you were talking about something else. Never mind.
You guys can meet in Zoom later. You can
Yes.
say.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've about come to the end here. And I just wanted to say once again, thank you so much to Dr. Mick King. We all benefited from your words of wisdom, and we appreciate this presentation. And a big thank you to my CPD colleagues for being here. And also to all of our attendees, thank you so much for joining us today. We love to have you. And please look for the next announcement, which will be our next webinar next month, November 16th at the same time, Judith. So maybe you can attend this one also at 1 p.m. Eastern time with our very own Damon Anderson and Richard Boyum, who are going to talk about taking the other path, R&D on career path development. So we're going to hear, I suspect, a little bit about their careers as RELOs, Regional English Language Officers. So we definitely look forward to that and watch for my postings on Facebook and our TESOL page. But thanks to everyone, and thank you again, Mick.
My pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Great to be back.